This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Monday edition of the OnlyFriends podcast. Happy NFL weekend, everybody.
Woo. What a weekend it was.
What a weekend it was. Welcome to the Championship Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
This is where all Steeler fans come to enjoy the fruits of our spoils. Let's go!
I mean, the Giants won.
No one cares.
Giants won.
Literally no one cares. Actually, they had a...
No, the Giants won.
They did beat Tennessee, so actually I do kind of care.
Look at that do-rag today.
A little bit. I don't think... look, I don't know what a do-rag is, apparently. I do know that a snapback is not a do-rag. I also know that Pittsburgh went in to the house of the Super Bowl contending Bungles and exposed them.
Mm-hmm.
They are exactly who we thought they were. They have no offensive line. They have no ability to stop the one and only TJ Watt, although they do kind of have the ability to stop the one and only TJ
Joe
Watt
Burrow
because
was a fluke.
he tore his pec,
Is that what you think?
and now he's likely out. I like my bet. I like my bet with Conrad.
I don't.
What was the bet?
Who will make more Super Bowls between Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes?
Does that mean he's just free rolling you?
In the next 10 years.
How's he free roll? Oh yeah, I mean he can't pay.
Right.
But the tab keeps going up.
Day.
How many years was it?
10.
10? Yeah. So a 10-year long bet of who makes more Super Bowls, Burrow or Mahomes.
Did you hear the Lions are going 16-1?
No.
Oh, 10 years?
Corey said so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll...
Starting this year?
This year.
This year,
Yeah.
because I fucked up and I said not to do it last year.
Oh, man, you'd have been one up.
I know.
He's drawing dead.
Just appearances.
Yeah.
Dolphins won.
I like your side, Burke.
Dolphins did win. Dolphins look good.
I actually like the Dolphins.
I
Well,
Dolphins
they
look
played
good.
against the
heard
fucking...
things about the Dolphins. That means you know they did really well.
Well, that's
If
because
I
they
heard
beat the
stuff.
Patriots. But more importantly, what ended up happening was somebody, after their tailgate, stuck their grill underneath their car. So
Why?
Crazy.
We can never just take the win,
Come
man.
on,
No.
Florida.
no, this is Florida in a nutshell. Somebody stuck their grill underneath their vehicle, and halfway through the game, the parking lot is just filled with police officers, and there was a 3-alarm fire.
Oh, okay.
Car
They
explodes.
didn't turn the grill off?
Did not turn the grill off. Car
Okay.
catches the gas tank. Car explodes,
Wow.
incinerating 11 other cars next to
Wow.
it. So, just a small chunk of the parking lot was completely on fire, much like the Dolphins' offense yesterday.
Hey, man.
On fire.
Yeah,
Landon.
Tua played some good football. You know,
He played good enough to win.
He played some good
uh,
football.
Really nice having Tyreek Hill there.
You know
I'll
what?
say that much.
Let me
kinda want
find
the
that
Dolphins
stat
to be
line
good.
for you. Actually, I
What?
did see
I
one
kind of want
play.
the Dolphins to be good. I don't know why.
Because nobody likes the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Jets-Giants. I guess because I know the Jets are going to suck.
Jets are going to suck. The Bills are incredible. The Patriots are going to be mediocre. So, yeah, it'll be the Dolphins and the Bills.
Come on, man. Come on.
I mean, the Bills are going to run away with that
I like
division.
the Bills.
Yeah,
They're so good.
The
this
Bills
is
are so
this is like
good.
So good.
this is like an Alex Smith plus type of stat line. 23 for 33,
Yeah.
270 yards and a touchdown.
No, that's better than Alex Smith.
Yeah, because Alex Smith throws a pick in there somewhere.
Well,
He also
never
just
had
doesn't throw 273.
He throws like 190. That's what I'm saying.
Mitch-
It's like Alex Smith plus.
Mitch Trubisky put up an Alex Smith stat line. I don't have it in front of me,
Let me
but I
find it.
would
I got
guess
you.
it's somewhere off the top of my head. I bet it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 13 for 18, 165 yards, 1 touchdown,
Yep.
and a game-winning drive in OT.
all he needed.
Wow, it was actually better than that.
Okay.
21 for 38, 194 and a touchdown.
I don't know that that's better, to be honest.
I mean,
can't believe
it
that.
is.
I was
It
gonna
is
say,
in
I
the sense
can't-
that there's no picks. You know, it's a clean.
I knew he didn't throw any picks. It was a clean game.
He
It was a
really moved the ball,
well-managed
though.
game.
Yeah.
I can't believe they decided to throw the ball 38 times.
Well, they had no choice. They went to overtime. Those
Wow.
last 3 possessions. They had 3 possessions in overtime.
I will say it's not a good sign when Claypool has the most rushing yards for your team.
Well,
He broke one
True.
off for like 30, though.
He
Yeah.
had 6 carries for 36 yards.
Yeah, and
That's
Najee
it.
got
but
hurt.
it was like 1,
Yeah.
and Najee got hurt at the end of the game. Which
Right, he didn't get hurt in before during the game.
no, but like when your offense stalls, you're not going to just like start feeding your running back.
No, it was
Like, what do you want him to do?
what
whenever it's
What a
second and
game.
10 every single time.
I thought that real hell on earth for you Steelers fans was just going to be they go to overtime, he misses the extra point, and you look at me and you go, why don't you use your powers for good, man?
Yeah, it was such a waste of a low variance thing. Like, they could have just not scored the touchdown. God, the defense looks so good. And then the second Watt gets injured, they had like 3 plays left in regulation after Watt got injured. No pressure on Burrow whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just easy touchdown. We're going to take this thing into OT. Well, I mean, it should have just been game ender right there.
What a terrifying game that was for Steelers.
A lot of
fans.
I
variance.
was losing my mind.
I enjoyed watching
Absolutely.
Brian fucking flip the fuck out while I was dealing the whole time.
We're running the academy. I'm doing graphics. I'm trying to pay attention to the table a little bit, mostly to the game. Sorry, Berk. I'm just losing
Understandable.
my mind. Like it was the most aggravating game because it was just like their defense was playing so well, and the offense just couldn't score.
I know
And
I've
it's just
turned the
like-
corner in my fandom where my expectations are so tempered that I gained no pleasure out of yesterday at all.
No, me either.
But in years past, I would have been in your shoes. You were at least flipping out.
Yeah, I was.
I was
losing it.
calm as could be. That game was lost as far as I was. It was a free roll into the second half because the defense was playing so good. And then whenever the Bengals closed the gap and effectively took the game tying score, which should have been the game winning score, it was just like, yep, that's what's going to be
Yeah.
this season.
You just can't have it all, man. You
When you
can't
have-
have a top 3 defense
When
with
you
the
have
top 3
5
offense,
turnovers,
you know?
when you have 5
6.
turnovers, it's supposed to be a
Or
nice,
5.
easy game where you just blow the team out.
Yeah.
Instead, we
Not
had to,
going to
like-
happen. And yeah, I mean,
when
the
it
offense.
literally at the last possible second that could possibly be in football.
It's very bad that the offense is so inept because we have one of the best young running backs and we have easily the best young wide receiving core in the entire NFL. I mean, we have 3 guys that easily could be a 1 on most other teams. Maybe that's exaggerating a bit. Maybe Claypool's not a 1 elsewhere, and Pickens isn't yet proven.
Right.
But it stands to reason like he'll mature into likely a 1. Deontay Johnson's obviously a 1, and Claypool has all of the physicality to potentially be a 1.
Yeah.
These guys are good. They're young. Freiermuth is a great young tight end. Najee, obviously, coming out of the backfield, can catch. He can run. He's a huge weapon. But we have no line and nobody behind the center that is going to be able to put up 300 yards a game.
right.
So it's just like we're somehow, some way, this team needs to transition back into like early 90s smash mouth football. Like, we need Najee to turn into the bus. Somehow these young guys on the offensive line need to just turn into movers and shakers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time I couldn't name offensive linemen for the Steelers.
That's when you know it's bad. Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I couldn't tell you who their center was, right? It was Dermontti Dawson and then Jeff Saturday for like 2 seasons. And then we had Pouncey for 12 or 10 or whatever.
Saturday was a setter.
Yeah, he bridged the gap between the 2. He's from Katanning.
Really?
A little known fact.
Shout out to Armstrong County, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. But there's a chance that I'm confusing Jeff Saturday for some other prominent center.
I'm almost certain you are.
It's possible,
okay.
but whatever. Whoever it was filled the gap
we get-
between the 2,
yeah,
and
we
he's
get
from
the-
Katanning.
Right.
So if it's not, or maybe he's from Ford City. Either way. I think it's Jeff Saturday, but if it's not, whatever. It was somebody else. Anyhow, this is like our 3rd center since Pouncey retired last year. So they're obviously struggling at that position. Left tackle has been a nightmare. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We got super hyped because they did a little bit of moving and shaking in the free agency market this year, but it was mostly on the defensive side of the ball and then at quarterback, which the D looked fucking great.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like without TJ for the rest of the season.
Not as good.
Huge
mean,
loss.
Rest of the season?
TJ and Minka is so fucking good.
Minka had a career game yesterday. Bro, first of all, the refs cheat, man. They're cheating so hard for the Bengals. Like, Minka just absolutely ends the game, right? Just lays somebody out, causes an interception, unnecessary roughness. Okay, here we go. Then the very next play, Burrows throws down the middle. I can't remember to which receiver. It might have been Boyd. And Minka just lays him out in the end zone and then turns to the ref and goes, is that necessary?
He's out for the
was great.
season?
He's really so good.
Not sure. It's expected to be a torn pec.
We don't know the extent of the injury, and how bad it is.
Basically, if it's a minor tear that doesn't require surgery, probably 4 to 6 weeks. If it's a major tear that requires surgery, very likely 4 to 6 months.
What do you do in these spots, like when you're injured and you're on IR for 4 to 6 weeks? Like you can't work out as hard. You can still do some things.
I'm sure some sort of rehab. I'm sure they have rehab programs that they have to go through.
Well, also like there's always some part of your body that's not hurt.
Right.
Like when I tore my ACL, I was in the gym every day. I was just in a brace and doing upper body. So yeah, if he tore his
Keep your
pec,
legs fresh.
yeah, he tore his pec, he'll probably be doing like a lot of
bike work,
a lot of power work, a lot of sprints, a lot of keeping your shit right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Feels like with the pec, you know, you lose a lot. It's like you know what I mean.
Well, especially when you're a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Fuck.
I came into the NFL season without much hope, and it almost saddens me to walk out of week 1 with a little bit more.
Wait, you're trying to tell me you have hope after that game?
Yeah.
False hope, but hope.
False hope. Sure.
Hope is normally false.
Also, the AFC West looked worse than I expected. I thought that they were going to be just an absolute powerhouse of a division.
AFC West, Chargers, Chiefs.
Chargers look good. Kansas City looked good as expected, but the Raiders did not impress at all.
Raiders played the Chargers.
Chargers, yeah.
They almost won.
The Chargers are really
They
fucking
didn't
good.
almost win.
What?
They didn't almost win.
Yes, they did.
24-19.
Yeah, they came back.
Yeah, they came back. It was. They had a chance to win the
But
game.
I definitely think that the Carr Adams hookup is going to be pretty fucking good. And Aaron Rodgers is fucking kicking himself right now.
They look bad.
All he had to do is just push a little bit more to keep him.
I don't know, man. You're talking about a guy going for way more money in a city that he grew up rooting for with a quarterback that he went to college with. It's a pretty big connection.
It's a
That is
trifecta.
true.
You know,
That
it's a
is true.
perfect storm.
Yeah,
That is true.
like,
But that's why Green Bay should have thrown everything at him.
maybe, but they only have Rodgers for one more season. They're going to be in a rebuild.
How old is Rodgers?
Old.
He's already. Oh no, that's Brady. Brady announced that he's officially retiring after the
Rodgers,
season.
what? Rodgers might be 38,
Oh, man.
37, 38.
I thought he came in the league before Ben,
I'll tell you right now.
but maybe not.
All I'll say is
But yeah, he's in that 38 to 40
If
range.
Brady wins again, if
He's
Brady
not
wins,
retirement.
he's not going to retire,
Bro,
right?
this is such like saving face. People, I hate people who are good at what they do that do this shit.
He's about to
right?
be 39.
Okay.
There you go.
So Brady obviously is the GOAT. He's just doing this again, setting himself up for if things go wrong. You know, we already started the retirement tour. You know, he could shop himself around, maybe be an owner, like whatever. Also, I don't know like what the end all be all was of all this, but there was like a lot of I think a lot is starting to come out that he was like colluding with the Dolphins and other teams whenever he was leaving New England.
He was trying to be an owner player.
Yeah, player owner.
What is that? What do you mean
It was
by
the
that?
Dolphins that offered him that deal.
Correct.
I don't know how
But it's against the league
much
rules.
of it is his.
He was trying to have a.
Like
Right,
they
but
got
it's not-
punished for it.
Yeah, but I don't think he's at fault, right? Because they offered it to him. It's not
Yeah, I
like he
guess.
went-
I kind
don't know
of
how
think
that
this
works.
was something that was offered
I don't know
like
the
years
details.
ago.
Yeah.
And then it's like getting to the end of his career. He's like the owner of the Dolphins, like, okay, Tom, it's time.
Yeah. I think that's probably
What did
true,
he?
too.
He wanted to be a player owner, and
Yeah.
you're not allowed to be an owner and player at the same
No,
time.
you're not allowed
Right.
to collude about it by
Right.
before that. Before it's time.
Yeah, they're
for
kind of
you
like saying,
to be
"Hey,
a free
come to our
agent.
team, and we'll give you a share of the franchise."
It's like
Oh.
recruiting in
And I don't
college.
think they can do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's setting everybody up. I don't think he's gonna pull the Elway where
Oh.
he goes out on top.
Bucks made the semis last year, right?
I think so. I think they lost to the Niners.
The Niners.
Yeah.
And then the Niners lost to the Rams.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's right.
And then Tom Brady was like, you know what? I want to play some more football.
No,
Well,
he
said
retired.
Well, he said he retired, and then he wanted to. He came back to play some more
Yeah.
football.
Yeah,
Okay.
which he'll just continue to do.
It seems as
Until
though
he doesn't
Giselle
want to.
wants him to retire very, very
apparently.
Oh,
badly.
I heard they
Apparently
have.
they're on the outs.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
not.
I think that's why, because he came back. Like, she's like, all right, enough with this football bullshit. You have a family to take care of, right? Like, you've did everything you possibly can do. You've accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish in this game. Move on. I want my husband back, right?
Man.
And he's
They
like,
just don't
okay,
understand.
honey, I'll retire. And then like a week later, he's like, fuck that, I'm not retiring. I'm still good.
They don't understand.
Are you the inside source, Brian?
Yes, of course. I'm page 6.
Housewives of the NFL. Lamanna's in on it.
That's right.
Moving into a little bit of poker talk, we are set to launch season 8 of Poker Out Loud this week. Actually, today.
Wait, it's out, baby.
Yeah, it's out. So for everybody who is a member of Salt for White TV, you can go ahead and check out episode 1. The first half lineup is a doozy. It's myself, Christian, Landon from the Salt for Y side. And then we have the one and only Kevin Rabichow, who's just launched a new course for Run It Once today. I got that in my email box earlier this afternoon. So it's K-Rab, it's Xuan Lu, who's been recently beating up the LA stream games, Ginge Poker, and Michael Acevedo. So a lot of talent at this table. We play 5-10 no limit. I can't remember if we capped it or not. I feel like we played deeper this season.
I want to say we option of 2K was on.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Tune in and find out.
We definitely have some interesting hands. I played one against Xuan where I literally just said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, and then jammed. Because if you don't know,
Always choose the
Go with
aggressive option,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, go for it.
Schwann's a face player,
Yeah.
Just look at your face and then
Yeah.
4-bet you maybe.
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. We have a little bit of a tease. This is probably a theoretical fold, but we're not going to play that tight in no rake environments. Just trying to find reasons to deviate, so I'm not going to elaborate too much on this call. I was going to talk myself out of it, but you know what? Let's welcome the rook to the big leagues. So in theory, this hand's going to play as a pure fold, but in practice, we're going to get in the mix here. You would have to pry these cards from my dead cold hands.
If you were to pick a flop that did not give us an actual quote-unquote value hand, but give us hope, this is the one.
I do not have a club, which I remembered, but I was just looking for balance. Just kidding. I forgot.
Let's go, Conrad. A little green bird in the future for you.
I suppose I could throw in some 4-bet mixes, but just not really all that interested.
So you can see there were a couple other faces that I didn't name there. Jay Nandez, Thalo Poker. They'll be joining us in the second half of the season.
Oh, yeah.
So be sure to check that out as well.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stuff going on. We got in the mix yesterday. Well, by we, I mean some of us. Connie won a tournament while dealing the academy yesterday.
Actually, I won 2 tournaments this week while dealing.
Well, that just means we don't have to pay you.
No,
late.
obviously I needed the payment to get in the tournament.
Yeah.
Right. So now we take it back.
Oh, that's
Right. It's
This
there's
is why,
no
Conrad,
Indian giving.
You got to sign a contract.
It sounds like we staked him.
Where's my lawyer?
basically. Yeah,
I'll
so
be your lawyer.
Chin, can you please call in? I need you.
you're the hood lawyer.
No,
Yeah, so
but I
basically
have
the way it
a
works
attorney.
is you get a $200 base rate and the ability to play tournaments while on the clock. And whichever one is greater is the one that you keep. So since the tournament score of 3,200 outweighs the $200 base rate, we're gonna need that back.
But I won 2 tournaments for 3,200 while dealing.
Then we're gonna need both 200s back. Feel free to send that to the Tortoise's PayPal.
It is gone.
That is the tortoise at paypal.com.
Do you know how many buy-ins there were this weekend? It was
Not 6,400.
It can make it 6,400.
It was like a good 7,500.
You were working the whole day.
Nah.
Landon and I got to play one event yesterday.
Oh, I played them all.
We definitely played an event yesterday, yeah.
Wait, you guys were home all day yesterday.
Well, after the academy.
I was at the academy.
He was
all
at the
day.
academy.
Till when?
I did my commentary and then
Till
I came
8.
back at like 3.
Wait, I max late registered the high roller 3,200 bracelet event
You were there
on
before me.
WSOP. Then young Landon also max reg, got seated immediately to my right. I wrecked his face. and then I got cooled off by the Giga Whale at the table who only played limp.
Well, when he opens, he just always has it.
Yeah, you did raise over his open.
Well, I jammed jacks over his cutoff open
For 20.
for 20. But also he opened 2.5x and he had opened once prior to 5x. So I just assumed that maybe he was trying to sneak one through.
Well, he just has worse pairs.
Yeah, maybe it was like, the ace queenish
Or just
or
nines.
the nines, because nines are scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nines are scary. That's definitely a 5x.
So unlucky he had
They
queens,
They
sent me
scammed
to the
you,
rail.
and then I bubbled it. Stone bubbled it. I mean, it was a small mini cash, but I didn't want to lose.
Yeah, so the fun conversation was we're like 60 people out of the money.
Fun conversation. Fuck
And I melt Landon's face off with ace 4 off.
you. He doesn't
big
do
blind.
anything like that.
And he goes, bro, that's a fold pre. And I go,
It is.
actually, it's a pure call.
it
and
is
he goes,
usually
"It's
a fold
not."
pre.
Well, in what scenario?
The scenario that
For
you were
chips,
in.
it's pure. It's a pure call. Does nothing else. For chips.
For what it's worth, in the hood, it's a pure call as well.
Also, on the streets, it's a pure call
Pure
as
call,
well.
not even
Right.
question.
So now we need like some mitigating factors to make it a non-call. It's like, well, are we scared of Landon? Okay, maybe. Maybe we're a little scared of Landon.
No.
So we might not call for that reason. I wasn't expecting to get the we're only 60 away from the money conversation.
Well, we weren't 60. There's 66 left, like 36 pays with 30 off the money.
Yeah, so 30 off the money in a 125 man field.
Hey man.
He's hitting me with ICM, that's a pure fold. And I'm just like, what ICM? Min cash is a quarter of a buy-in.
Yeah, but we're close,
So he's just
Okay, so the conversation goes, fucking scam, Landon. Phew, had naked ace of hearts. King 10 of diamonds, which was 2 pair. Landon, and then Berkey says, I learned it by watching you. And Landon says, you probably check. Berkey, what do you mean? And then I said, he soul read you. And Landon says, there's nothing to soul read. And then blah, blah, blah goes on. Berkey says, Landon goes, by the way, 3-bet pre or fold? Berkey, fuck your charts. You play your game, I'll play mine.
That's good. That's good.
So the whole thing I'm trying to arrive at here is obviously, in my opinion, there isn't any ICM 30 out of the money in a 125 man field where min cashing is literally less than a buy-in. And Landon is beating me over the head with it because he's mad. But then we get to the we get to this
it was just
bubble.
that I think it was more the fact that you said, I learned this from him, but he would never have taught at any point any of that.
No, he would bluff that hand on the river.
His river is probably good. But
You said, probably check.
then I realized
You can't check.
you beat very few things, but you have equity. Like
I
you
don't-
beat like the queen jack of diamonds, or I have like pair plus open ended.
No, you have
lose.
straight.
You lose.
It's a one-liner.
Jack. No, you're probably good.
I mean, if you're gonna be there with the ace of hearts,
You're probably-
It's definitely the bluff. I'm confident in that.
It doesn't exist, but yeah.
Yeah,
the limit
I
does
mean,
not exist. Yeah.
How could we ever get to the river with the naked ace of hearts on a king jack 10 3
True.
heart board?
How can you?
It's tough. It's tough. How do we do it?
Yeah.
It's not about ace 4. It's you would bluff with the ace of hearts is the point.
Honestly, I might make a mistake and check because like river top pair, you beat some stuff, but you probably just are supposed to bluff because when I call turn after bet call, I don't have many like one pair hands.
Right, obviously, and
I
also
have a lot
you're
of
like
two-pair.
defending the small blind, so your range is insanely narrowed anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would
I
have
mean,
missed that one. Oh, good, good job.
yeah. So
job,
it
Matt.
is what it is.
I love you,
Hey, that was a tip of the cap to the young man. I in the past would not have found that bluff. It was like,
I probably wouldn't have found it either.
you know what?
I don't think I would have either.
This aggro young 20-something with his T levels booming out of the roof taught me that when in doubt, jam it in the middle. So I 3x potted.
I don't think I taught you that. You probably did that before.
I probably did, but now I do it with a purpose.
My only note on Berkey was limped under the gun +2 at 7-5 of hearts.
Yeah. And I said, well, you can't raise it.
Yeah.
You got to keep him guessing, you know?
Seemed reasonable to me.
Yeah, that was great when you just put in the chat that you gave.
Also,
Berkey
she
the
had me
rock.
tagged as
Yeah.
a rock.
I did. That was obviously an ironic tag, though.
Oh, right. We use ironic tags. I'm
Yeah.
sure you remember the irony.
Yes, because we
Yeah.
played a little bit last year during the series.
That was way longer ago than that.
Was
2
it?
years ago, 2.5 years ago.
No, that was like last year.
You've lived at our house for longer than a year.
Yeah. And there was a series last year.
Right, but like when we played was whenever you played against Landon and got heads up.
No.
Yeah.
I meant the series after that when I lived there.
In Tahoe?
Yeah, I don't
Was
think
that when we went to Tahoe?
There was something else. Maybe it was a circuit or
Your
something.
circuit event? or
Oh,
something?
maybe.
Like you
There
satellited
was something
into a
that we were
circuit.
playing. I kept getting seated with you.
Yeah.
I rock tagged you.
Mm.
As a
You did. We
disrespect.
saw it. We saw the graphic.
Oh, I definitely saw the graphic.
Yeah, we saw it. People need to bring back the tags that they have on people, you know? Like when people win tournaments with WSOP, like they'll like blur out the tags that they have
I
on
know.
people. Bring
When
back
I
the
won
tags.
that
Get some
one,
drama.
I had all the tags on, and
yeah.
I got some backlash for
Yeah.
my tagging.
Your tagging skills?
Yeah.
I'm not a big tagger. I started using colors when I started streaming because
Me neither.
apparently everybody takes criticism or opinions to heart. And this is what started the whole guru feud. So I was like, I don't know who this fucking guy is.
Wow, that was such a long time ago now.
Yeah, I
Feels
didn't
like
know who he
forever
was. I was just like, this doesn't look great.
What was the hit? It was like sevens or something?
I 3-bet sevens. It was a weird spot. Whatever.
Oh man, I'd love to go back and go
It
up.
was 9-8 of 9-8 suited.
He opened 9-8 suited off of 16.
from like
I
the
had
hijack or
like
something.
yeah, and I had like 30. I was second or third in chips, and Huni had me covered in the small blind, and I had sevens on the button.
Okay.
So I planned to 3-bet call off versus him,
Yeah.
and 3-bet fold versus Huni.
Yeah.
Everybody was just saying like, you know,
This
my
is
hand-
like
You
already in the
3-bet.
money, right?
yeah, it's like
3-bet, Rob
15
called,
left.
and then the hand played out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I 3-bet to like 5, and he calls.
With 8-9 suited?
Yeah, that's what I said. That was exactly what I said. I was like, this guy's probably a wreck.
Out of position, you probably play jammer fold.
Yeah, of course.
Because like you want to realize more when you're that short,
Yeah.
and playing out
That
of
was
position
also
is a
kind of
nightmare.
before, like, I feel like it was very common for people to do that small 3-bet sizing when you're like shallower.
Was or was not?
Was not as common.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe it was just me hanging around Landon, but like I've always kind of been hyper aware of that. But I also over 3-bet and over aggress, so I'm always looking for
We
ways.
gotta have
I mean,
like a throwback to a Thursday or something.
Yeah,
like back at the spot, run a sim.
I've been
for.
like hyper aware of this since like Mormon in 2007, where
Yeah.
if you raised, you got 3-bet for the dead minimum always. It was just like,
Really?
okay, let's see how many bets we can put in pre before it actually equals one significant size.
Yeah, sometimes people get things right, you know.
Yeah.
Because like, why would you want to put in more? Put in as little as possible to get everyone else. To,
Keep it wide, baby.
Yeah.
Keep it wide. That's what I'm saying.
But you got to keep it tight when you're dancing.
Wow. Poker and dancing, two different
Sometimes you
things.
got to
You know?
keep it tight when you're dancing. That's why I have you knit tagged, because if you're dancing,
Yeah,
keep
well,
it tight.
That's right. I'm very tight and selective
Until
with
the beat
my
until the beat
dancing.
drops, and you have to open up with the wingspan.
Well, get out of the way. Now I have
Get out of the way.
I have a 3-foot halo that you're not
Yeah.
allowed to be a part of.
Wow.
It's like in NFL, like when you're punt receiving, you know, you have that 3-foot halo rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to stay out of my way.
Did you see what the Bears did when they won?
No.
That was really, really fun. So like they won, Neil like gave the ball to the ref and just did like a slide because it was so wet. Like they just all ran to the end zone, just like slid, like penguins. It was
Like
great.
penguins?
Yeah.
Like on their stomachs?
Yeah. The classic stomach slide. It was
Like a
really
slip
good.
and slide.
Yeah.
Guapo's posted his notes on me in the chat. He said, likes to take pics of his poo, pickleball bad reg, has bloody sheets cleaned by Consuela, used my Ginge Poker Academy password to improve his game.
You had to up that GPA.
Oh no, I've been outed.
Oh,
Very
man.
brutal.
Fuck.
Very brutal.
Yeah, you put
Gotcha.
the bloody sheets in there and everything.
That's fucked up.
So moral of the story was neither of us won this tournament.
No, I stone
Landon
bubbled.
actually stone bubbled.
As is only fitting for the person that really wanted to
It's
cash.
super funny too because like it got to the bubble and
It's such a scam.
It dawned
He's
on
just
us that they're paying.
yelling in the kitchen.
Well, it also dawned on us that they're now paying 30% of the field, and min cash is like $2,600 for a $3,200 buy-in.
Wow.
So Landon has like 7 blinds or so. He's next to last in chips or third.
7. I had
third to last.
3.
Well, you
At
ended
one point I had 7.
at
yeah.
one point you had 7. So he has like 7 blinds. He's like next to last or whatever, and he's just like, "We're on the stove bubble, but like you know." min cashing isn't even a buy-in, so like, you know, whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, like that's the right attitude. Find your spot, young man. Like, be a G. No, what does he do? He blinds himself down to 800 chips.
Oh, Jesus.
It was so painful because like I did the math wrong and thought that the person that was going to be shorter than me was going to be all in from the blind, and just like I would have slightly less, so he'd have to go all in first, where I wouldn't have to.
Playing a satellite or?
No, so not a satellite.
Sounds like a satellite.
Yeah.
It sounds like it has a 10x min cash or something.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
I just forgot that when you play online and you pay a small blind, you also pay the ante as well.
Yes, you do.
Where live you don't, right? Because it's the big blind ante. So I miscalculated who goes all in first when the opportunity arises, and it was me by one hand. So I had to win it all in, which I didn't. And
were there any somewhat close spots you passed on?
Yeah, I think it gets to a point when you're short enough. When you're short enough.
It wasn't me playing.
Yeah, I might have tortoised too. I definitely tortoised too hard. Where
I think with like 7 bigs in that spot, you probably should be looking to be quite aggressive with the small cat. 9th place.
Yeah.
Ninth place. Look, okay, so what did it pay? 33? 32?
It paid 36.
Okay, so it paid 36 spots, and min cashing was like 2,600.
Yeah.
9th place was exactly 2 buy-ins, 6,400.
Yeah.
So like, if you're not playing to win now, I'm not sure when we ramp it up.
Yeah. WSOP, they just recently changed their payout structure, where it looks like they're paying more people and flatter.
So sometimes it's a
structure.
byproduct of their payout table. Like the way that they have to do it with the software, I think, is that they create intervals. And if you find yourself on a fringe, the payout could be like skewed very top heavy, or it could be skewed very flat, depending on like which fringe you fall on. So this happened whenever I was in PA for their inaugural WSOP launch in the main event. They were 1 player away from the structure being insanely flat, right? So like if they get this one final player to buy in,
it over to the next.
It goes from being like 12% of the field that's paid to like 28 or 30% of the field that's paid.
Sick.
Because you know that next interval or whatever is supposed to cover a wide array. So I think that it's just still they don't have like 888 is just inferior software.
Yeah.
And they're just still kind of behind the 8 ball with that type of shit.
Yeah, it definitely made max slate registering. Not that I knew that the payout structure was going to be what it was, but retroactively seeing what the payout structure was and then max slate registering, it was a really great spot to max slate register because when you enter, you're already that close to getting sold.
There's a lot of
already.
tournaments like that.
There was like 68 left when you entered.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
way more.
There was like 70.
Yeah, no,
it was like
100%.
70.
Yeah.
It was
70 left, 36 paid.
Yeah, it was right after. It was right before that you guys were talking.
We played
about
for almost an hour.
No, I literally registered with the last minute.
I was
I know
looking
that.
at
I'm saying you and I played at the same table for almost an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So we didn't lose 8 people.
There
in
was
an
no
hour.
more than 75 because I was looking at it and then I was looking to see if I had 3,200 in my account.
Sure.
Like I'm telling you right now.
He was trying to find a way in, yeah.
There was no.
You know he entered every $55 flip and go.
Only one of them ran.
Yeah,
or 2 of them.
Really?
fucking
Only
Yeah.
one ran?
I entered them all, and I looked at my account. And I got a bunch of refunds.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very sad.
Yeah. Those are fun though. Those are so fun. I
Have
yet
you guys
to win
ever
one.
won one? Brian has.
I won one
You
for
won
the
the
main
most
event.
important one.
Yeah.
Solve for Bri.
I won a lot of them. I got second for a
right.
5K and I got.
The second doesnn't count in a flip and go.
No. I'm saying I won a lot of them in general, but I got second in a 5K also and a second in a 2 point something. It was
Brutal when
pretty
you get
big.
second.
How do you know that you get second?
Because I fucking this
He's
pop up
sweating
my
it.
screen and I just sweat it.
Why?
Because it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun as fuck.
What's wrong with you?
That's my idea
My
of fucking
best,
hell.
I think it's been like 2 away. Maybe I got 7th or something.
That is hell.
Why?
What?
You just watch the all in. You just you sweat.
You just get to watch the variance, and you can't do anything about it.
This is absolute torture to the human brain.
Yeah.
That's why it's great.
That sounds
It's not fun.
honestly. That sounds like me rewatching the final play of regulation between the Steelers and the Bengals over and over and over and over again,
No, I stopped
expecting the
watching it.
result to change.
Well, that's a lot.
I stopped
I mean,
watching it because actually a tip from Brian because he wasn't watching when he won it. So
He was blacked out drunk when he
so
won
I
it.
stopped watching.
I had no idea. I forgot that I registered for it. Like I just registered
That
like
is
the day
so
before,
fun.
and then it was the
I love
4th of
that for
July,
you.
so I was just like, we're at your house, Burke, and I was just drinking,
just
and
get
Kev
10K.
Math tweeted out, solve for Bry won the 10K main event seat.
Yeah.
This was going to be the first main event
Were you
Lamanna
guys
had missed.
freaking out?
I didn't even realize that was his screen name. So I just kind of like said something at the 4th of July party. I was just like, hey, did you see this guy solve for Bry? Who has that name? And Lamanna like perked up. He's like, that's me. I'm like, you want a 10K main event seat?
yeah, I
Yeah.
was just like running around the house.
That's
fucking
amazing.
awesome.
Oh man, I wish we had some footage.
Called his
of this.
parents.
This would have been some
Wow.
good footage. Some great
Amazing.
content.
It was
He
literally-
cashed
Yeah.
It was literally the first one he was going to miss in how many years?
a decade plus.
since 2008.
Yeah.
Wow, sick.
He cashed. Folded
Destiny.
queens on the bubble off of 7 blinds.
Tortoise.
That a boy.
Yep.
It was right too.
It worked.
That's what I mean. That's why it was right.
That's how it's
I had
right.
the best hand, but it was right.
I mean, how much did you pay for the flip and go?
No, like $80 or something.
Okay, so you want that
Yeah,
ROI.
you want to turn the $80 into 15,000.
Yeah, the
Right,
solver doesn't
right.
know about life money equity. You know?
Right.
The solver doesn't know about
Exactly.
money.
Right.
It knows about rebuying. It
Yeah.
knows about-
When you have all of yourself and
Yeah.
you're in for $80, cashing's pretty important.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
tortoise.
A lot more than when you're in for 3,200 and cashing only 26.
Yes.
It's still important, man. It's real.
It's meaningful. It is.
Well,
but-
cashing for a percentage of the 26.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Tough game.
Speaking of tough games, the Triton 200K coin flex?
CoinRivet.
CoinRivet?
CoinFlex is the
Oh, yeah.
rug.
CoinFlex is the
CoinFlex
scam.
is Doug-
Rug.
CoinFlex is the scam. Scam.
Doug's rug. Doug's rug.
Doug's rug. Doug's rug. 200K CoinRivet Invitational wrapping up today. We got down to the final table. Why don't you do us the honors here, Landon? You have better eyes than me. This is very far away.
So we have Fedor, Grafton. We have
That's the Frenchman.
Frenchman that's still in when we stopped watching.
Frenchman.
Tom Vogelsang. We have the Israeli fella on the right. I forget his name, but he had some. He double check raised Linus in his spot, which is pretty fun.
Okay.
Linus is in there. Ebony is up in there.
Alexis
Seth Davies
Ponikovs.
and then Alexis Ponikovs. That sounds like all of them. We did it.
Just a side note, Linus is wearing Tom Vogelsang's shirt. I know this for a fact because I saw Tom wearing that the first time I saw him playing Triton, and I said I would love that shirt.
He's copying the
I
style.
want that shirt.
Another side note, Linus is on some type of limitless pill because his fucking eyes are out of this world
Did you see
on this stream.
Yeah. He's a robot.
He's out of his mind. Yo, these eyes are just, he just looks like he's fucking crazy.
He's a robot.
Ritalin induced.
So, for anybody who's not paying attention to Twitter, we're going to give some spoilers. Actually, the stream might be caught up at this point, but the last we checked, it was four-handed. Is that
Three.
correct?
Three-handed.
Okay.
It was Frenchman, Grafton, and Linus.
So the Frenchman is Carl Chappé-Guetin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
We'll go with that.
Grafton and Linus are now heads up.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Carl was actually chip leading pretty much the entire way down. He was the last amateur who's left. He played a couple fun ones. He played a strange one versus Jungle Man, I think on the bubble, where Jungle had like ace king of spades.
Yeah.
And he had deuces black. And it was 4 hearts on the turn. Jungle bet third pot. He check raised min. Jungle called. And then the river was the king of hearts completing the five hearts on board. Carl checked and Jungle moved it in for pot. And he went to the tank with the I played the board before finally letting it go. So he had some gangster moves in him for sure. That check min raise on the turn is spicy, and then Jungle just peels with the no heart, or maybe all the heart,
All the heart.
which is equally as spicy. But the big story I think from this, obviously star-studded final table with Fedor, Davies, Linus, Grafton, etc. This is Grafton's biggest score, so that's a story. Played playing heads up right now for 5 million ish.
5.5.
Guaranteed 3 point something, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's a big heads up match.
Let's go graft in.
Just play the best in the world for 2 milli. No
Let's
biggie.
go.
You know, doing what he's got to do. But the biggest story, obviously, to come away from this is Ebony Kenney's Cinderella run.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up to Triton with the opportunity to play some of these high rollers. She cashed, was it the 25K or the 50K?
I think it was the 25K. She
I
FT'd
think
the
so, too.
25K.
Yeah.
The first one, that was the first event.
Yeah, I think you're right. So she cashed that for a little bit over 200,000. I know she also played the 75K, and I assume she played the 50K as well. But she put together a pretty historic run here in this 200,000, the 5th largest cash by a woman ever.
Wow.
1.7 million.
Wait, what's the largest?
I don't know.
Vanessa Selps, probably.
So would this if she had won this, would it have been the largest, do you think?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
'Cause there's not that many 5 million
So I know that...
in general.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that when the Alpha 8 was still around, I can't remember her name now, which is unfortunate. Kathy, she's a businesswoman.
Oh, I remember watching that one, actually.
Yeah, she won one of the Alpha 8s, so I imagine that's in the top 5.
She was wild.
She gets after it, man.
I remember watching that.
For sure.
There was some throwback on YouTube that I was watching.
Yeah, I can't recall her last name.
I'll find it.
She was like a blonde woman, right?
Yeah.
Kathy Len.
Kathy Len, yes. She's a businesswoman who just absolutely mashes, loves to play high stakes.
Yeah.
Don't know that she actually
that
plays.
lady?
Okay,
She
so
still plays.
dope.
it looks like she got 3rd in the Super High Roller Bowl for 1.8 million.
Wow.
And that's her biggest cash.
Vanessa,
wow.
Vanessa Selps also has 1.8 as her biggest cash.
Okay.
Okay, so
Wow, she was so close.
Yeah, so Ebony
1.785 for
Ebony
Wait,
might
that
have
was
been
the
like
big, she was so close.
she might have been a pay jump away from the biggest cash ever.
Wow.
Sick.
Wow, how crazy is that though? That if 1.7 is 5th and like sub 2 million is
Somehow
first.
it's like a lot of 1.8.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, there aren't very many tournaments where first place is going to be over 2 million.
Yeah.
And Selps kind of got out of poker prior to high rollers
Yeah,
being
you're
a
right.
thing.
It's legit a pay jump away from being the biggest one.
What's
Damn.
the biggest?
Because I'm pretty sure
A
the
net
biggest is
overstat, everyone
1.8,
says.
right? What was it?
Yeah, it could be a net. She won the
Let me
WSOP Europe main
Mhm.
when she was 18. Although
Oh,
I
sick.
doubt that was 2 million plus. It could have been.
It might have been.
That was a.
It's a net. Yeah, you're right. 2 million.
It's 2 million on the dot.
1 million euros. It said it's 2 million in cash though. What?
Yeah,
First
that's
was 1
back
million.
when euros used to be 2
2
to
to
1.
Yeah, back when euros used to be 2 to 1. So now I
Wow.
guess
It's soccer now.
Yeah.
who would win it, right? If it's €1 million, that cash is clearly decreased in value, right?
She got, but
You do it for euros at that time.
Yeah, exactly. She was able to exchange it for 2 million real dollars.
Right, because the
Hopefully.
best live cash says $2 billion.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
2 million.
Hopefully she just bought Bitcoin with it.
That's what I was thinking.
Wow.
Maybe that's where she's at. She's just sitting on a.
An island
I would
Power
love to
of Bitcoin.
hear from Ebony how it was. It has to be very intimidating going into that field and to
Maybe.
keep
I mean,
your
jumping
wits about
jumping
you.
off with a final table right away has to ease that pressure a lot.
Yeah, but even just like going into the first event, like
Yeah.
that's a very intimidating field.
Yeah, that I agree with for sure. Like
Wow.
even though you're only playing 1/10 the buy-in, you're still playing the exact same field.
And it's just sort of you definitely have to keep your wits about you.
We missed one.
Annie Duke?
Annie Duke for
Yeah.
2 million.
It was the tournament of champions, right?
Tournament of
that's
Champions.
right.
She
Yeah.
won. Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of
2004.
that's weird though because that was just a free roll.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a made for TV event.
Mhm.
Okay.
Not disqualifying
Sure,
it
sure.
as a score, but
Oh, Liv got a first for 1.7.
EPT.
So there's a lot
That was
of
her first. That was her first tournament win ever. Also,
Wow, it seems like first place for things was a lot more back in like 2010.
yeah.
than,
Things were popping,
now.
man.
Yeah, it sounds like it was
Yeah,
popping.
She was. Liv was talking about that tournament on the two most recent podcasts she did with Tim Ferriss and Lex Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
And she told the story on both of them where she said she had this like out of body experience as they were doing the shuffle up and deal on day one, where she just like heard this voice that she said like basically was reminiscent of her own voice.
Yeah.
That just said you're gonna win this
What
thing.
the heck?
Really?
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
Yo,
Yeah.
so
And it was like a
kinda
6-day event. So like to hear that on day one, she said like, you know, going it was either like late day 1 or early day 2, she like got crippled and was short stacked and was just like, oh well this is idiotic. Like this thing doesn't know what the hell it's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
6 days later she's just
Oh my god,
hoisting
that's
the cup.
so
then
weird.
it's just W's.
Yeah.
Magic.
That seems strange coming from her because she's so
I know,
scientific.
right?
And
That's the coolest part.
That's what. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why it's probably like.
She told 2 stories of like this medical metaphysical type of experience. The other one was she was losing her hearing in her right ear, and her doctor diagnosed her with this disease. I can't recall what the name of it was.
Tinnitus?
Maybe.
No, that's the buzzing. Or
That's
that
the
beep,
ringing.
the
Yeah,
ringing,
that's the ear ringing.
Yeah, but that might have been it. She said she was like hypersensitive to like deeper tones, like males' voices. She said she like literally couldn't even stand to hear a man talk because
Relatable.
right. Of course. But basically the outcome of this disease was that you ultimately lose your hearing. And so it's a degenerate disease, and she was diagnosed and like thought that was just it. And she said she found herself at Burning Man, and she was like retelling the story or whatever, saying that, you know, obviously she was in the Burning Man environment, so things had been consumed or whatever.
Yeah, some psychedelics, maybe.
Yeah. But this this woman who claimed to be a healer asked her if she could like take a look at it, and she said that, you know, whatever, it's a free roll, go ahead. And this woman like starts sucking on her ear, like vacuuming, like. And she said it was so unpleasant. She was trying to get her to stop, and the woman was like, "No, trust me, like there's something there. I have to get it out."
Ew, she sucked a clog out of her ear?
No, it wasn't physical. It was like metaphysical. So like she continues sucking, and then is on the ground like twitching, like she's having like some sort of attack.
Oh my god!
You know, like some sort of out of body experience.
That from somebody like Liv, does that make you believe in the?
No, she qualifies it exactly the way that I hear it as a listener. So basically, like the woman got chills and like stood up. It was like, I don't know what that was, but it was evil. But it's out of you now. Like
well, now it's in
a
her.
couple weeks, you should be fine.
No, she spit it out, obviously.
And like hearing Liv retell it, she obviously doesn't have explanations for it because it's anecdotal in nature. Like she really feels like she heard a voice, and she ended up winning the tournament. Like it came to fruition, right? And this woman really did this thing to her and claimed that in a couple of weeks it was going to go away, and it did. And Liv's explanation was like, look, I don't have any answers. I recognize that the placebo effect is very, very real in the human brain.
Yeah,
and
like
even if it's
super
just
real.
a placebo thing, that's fine. Like I'm willing to accept it.
Right, it's gone now.
That's kind of how I feel about all of this stuff, is like, well, if I can somehow convince myself to like activate a placebo effect, then that's like fucking sick.
Wow.
It also could just be a coincidence.
Yeah, of
which
course.
Is like,
wow.
People don't like realize how many things happen throughout the world on
I'm
a
just
given
looking
day. A lot of scenarios, and then when one lines up and it's a coincidence, they're like, oh, there has to be a reason behind it. But
Right.
no,
That's
it's
the
just-
problem, is that like as human beings, our brain gravitates towards black and white, simple solutions. And like we want explanations for things. So we'll often leap to illogical ones in order to fulfill that.
Wow.
It's just more fun.
No, it's not. That's the thing, though. I don't think it is. I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because like I agree with you. Like when you set yourself up in free roll scenarios where a potential placebo effect could take place and it improves or optimizes your life in some sort of way, I think that that's great.
Yeah.
But the issue becomes whenever it becomes a way of life. And I know
Or
so
when
many
you start
people.
trying to sell it or something.
Yeah. And honestly, like
It can
even
get
if you're
out of
trying to sell
hand.
it, like it's whatever, because
I mean, sucking on strangers' ears is like not commonly accepted.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
But I just know so many people in adulthood that I would qualify, and I'm only qualifying it off of like how well I know them, as like kind of lost.
Yeah.
And they seek refuge in all this metaphysical stuff.
Are you talking about me?
No, you're not.
You're
totally
Jason.
lost.
You're
Yeah.
I'm
Jason,
lost to
yeah.
Jason.
You're lost to Jason. If you're still,
I still have hope.
if you haven't taken strides in the next 4 or 5 years, then
Oh fuck!
I'm gonna give up on you for sure.
I have 4 or 5 years. I can. Yeah. We'll,
But yeah,
we'll be good in 4 or
it's
5
people that I
years.
knew in my 20s that are now in their 30s.
Right.
And like in my 20s, it was very clear that they didn't really have a way, and there was things that were bothering them or demons that they were fighting, whatever the case may be. And now in my 30s, I see that they've sought refuge in like this metaphysical
Yeah.
world where it's like they're better for it, sort of.
It's the lesser of two evils.
Kind of. They like still haven't dealt with any of the root cause issues
Right.
that were causing all of the hurdles in their lives
Yeah.
to begin with. And now they're really foo-foo.
Well, Nicole is my best friend who is like, she's finishing school to be a therapist, but we talk about this a lot because there's a lot of life coaches, like these sort of spiritual healers that will kind of try and claim that they can heal mental illness and all this stuff, and she's like, this is so unethical, like I can't believe that this is like, I would never take advice from these people, and they're like selling $1,000 an hour to like heal mental illness. Like then it definitely,
and people are desperate
yeah,
like it's preying upon people.
They prey upon people who like really want, and they're like, they just want someone to tell them like, I can fix you.
Yes.
Right.
And like a real therapist is never going to be like, I can for sure fix you.
Right.
So they go to the people who say that, and they're full of shit.
Right. Yeah.
These tournaments were fucking massive back in the day, man. It was 1.7 million.
This is how he does conversations. He doesn't listen.
Well,
he brings it back to
your
whatever he's
contribution-
been thinking about
He's
for
bringing
the
it full
past.
circle. Yeah.
No. I was
This is
full
how we got
circling
started
because
on
I
this.
did listen to everything you're talking about, and I wanted to get this out then, but then it got derailed by the metaphysical.
Right, but we didn't
ear-sucking.
finish our conversation. Now
You just did.
And now, no, you finished it for us.
That's fine.
That's fine. Let's talk about
All
prize
right,
pools.
go for it.
Well, I was just looking at who else like has 7-figure scores from like the women's side. Maria has 2.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it's less exciting now after the derailment.
See, this is the thing: is that whenever you are
what I
going to
tried.
take control of the conversation and
Fuck, man.
steer it in another direction, you better have some
Fucking damn it.
strong fucking follow through.
Yeah, there better
Like
be
Conrad.
some crazy breaking news.
No, there's nothing crazy.
Like,
Or you
no,
have to
tournaments
announce it
were
as a
big.
LSA.
No,
Yeah.
I just felt like
It's
I
just
got
a
interrupted, and then I wanted to go on.
LSA.
You were just holding it in the whole time.
I was.
not thinking about the current conversation.
I was thinking about the current
Well,
conversation.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thoughts are irrelevant now.
What did we
We're
talk about?
past
What
it.
did we say?
We're past it.
Can you tell us the bullet points of what we said?
Yeah. You really want to do this?
It's not a test. Don't worry, it's not a test.
Yeah.
I will say though that I think that the conversation adjacent to this is like the whole positivity movement, and I
Yeah.
think that that's like where my mind goes to of like people who go full bore into metaphysical behavior and like treat it as a lifestyle and like start to push push their chakra onto you and all. They're
Push
lost
their
causes.
chakra onto you.
Yeah, like
You
to
get
me,
your chakras
Feel
in
my
line,
chakra.
Burke.
to me, they're lost causes, and I don't mean that in the sense
Well,
that
I would say I was really into that stuff when like I was like 20,
Sure.
21. Because like my first introduction into that type of thing, and I went like full, as I do with anything I get introduced into, I just went full in. And that is probably the most mentally ill I've ever been. So I'll
Right.
say that from anecdotally.
So yeah, and what I'm saying when I say they're lost causes is not that they are the worst versions of themselves and they're stuck there forever, but it's more so that there's no appealing to their logical side.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody's gonna have a logical conversation with them and bring them back.
No.
So like I stick a pin in that, but like to adjacent to that are the people who are these like mindset masters where it's just like, let's put a positive spin on everything. Hashtag positivity.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, there's an issue with that because it's sort of just like promoting suppression.
well, yes, A, it's supporting suppression, but B, it's diluting actual upside of anything, right? So it's like there is no such thing. I mean, if we just look at the nature and the function of like positivity versus negativity, they can only coexist together.
Right.
Positivity has no definition.
There's no good without evil.
Correct. But
Yeah.
but even if you think about it as like of like a magnet with a positive and negative pole, right? If there's no negative pole, the whole magnet's just positive, right?
Right.
Like there is literally no definition to one or the other. We assign it, right? It's an emotional definition of good, bad.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be completely balanced.
It doesn't. But when you start to spin, and to your point, as humans, we are negatively skewed toward, we are inherently skewed to the negative,
Right.
right? Because it kept us alive.
Yeah.
Like fear was a great motivator in the human species.
Yes.
So you're right in the sense that it doesn't have to be balanced, and it is imbalanced already to the negativity. But when you start to try to skew things that are naturally negative into this reframing of positivity, I think it's like a sickness.
Yeah.
When you
it comes off.
right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, every single negative situation, be like, well, let's find the bright side. Like, that's bad, right? Of course.
Whenever I hear it, it comes off as people who are like, they can't tolerate facing the negative, so they just, it's like almost seems like it's not for the other people's well-being. It's like they cannot process the fact that there's a negative thing, so that they just make it positive.
I think sometimes it's people who trigger really easily, and that's their meaning or methodology of getting over that. And then I also think that it's like control freaks.
Yeah.
Like people who want to control outcomes that are dictated by variance. We see it in poker all the time, right? It's people who want to control the outcomes of things that are dictated by variance, and it's their way of spinning the fact that they're hard on themselves when variance is negative towards them. Right. So they lose a hand that their mind immediately gravitates to. I could have done something to manipulate this outcome if I had played the hand differently.
Yeah.
And the way to then manufacture that into a positive state of mind is to somehow like look at the upside of saying like, yeah, I could have played the hand differently, but I'm alive and living in America. And you know what I mean? It's just like
But and it's also like, imagine saying that to someone else. They're like, oh, like my whole family just died, but you have a roof over your head and you know, you're alive. And it's just like, you would hate if someone else said that to you. So like saying it to yourself is even worse.
Yeah. I don't think our psyche is meant to be self-manipulated.
Yeah.
Right. And I do agree that like, we can self-sabotage in that way, right? We can lean into depressive narratives and like super, like we can lean pretty hard into the sad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So it's like in that regards, like maybe we should put in more effort to counterbalance. But I think the opposite holds true whenever it comes to like positivity.
Well,
positivity should be very natural.
There's something to looking at the bright side of things, and
but
like,
you have to process the negative. You can't just breeze past it.
Right. But a lot of people skew too far, like you said, into the negative, where it's just like, okay, there's positives here, but you never see the positives. That's also bad.
So how do you go about it in a way that solves that, of like not just looking at the negative, right? In the classic like I can never win mentality.
Right. I think that a lot of people that I respect and consider to be like high intellects do a lot of work around straight gratitude.
Yeah.
So it's like if you are able to find some sort of connection to gratitude, then that will kind of change your undertones a little bit. And that's all we're really trying to work with is undertones,
like,
right?
There's like you can get like a gratitude partner and send lists to each other every day. That's what Nicole and I do.
So adorable.
Well,
it's a good accountability.
What's the difference between negative event happening, things happen, you process it, and then you do the classic like I'm just happy to be here. Like I'm happy to be in the moment.
Because I think that's an overtone reaction, right? I think we're talking about undertones versus overtones, right? Like there's a big difference between me waking up and kind of like taking a beat and saying like, okay, here are all the things that I'm thankful for that I may not consciously acknowledge otherwise, versus, you know, me getting too outed for a pot that's monetarily meaningful for me, and then having to drift into a space of like, but let's not forget all the things like.
You could be disappointed and grateful at the same time.
It's not the time or place. Like the time right now is to lament that bad thing that happened, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that we should deprogram feelings.
So it's a matter of like the timing of it all in some regards, because like saying, oh, like this thing happened, I'm happy to be alive, is kind of like just coping for a feeling.
Well, not only that, but at some point, some period of time later, that happens naturally, right? Like some period of time later, the sting from that pot goes away. Life goes on.
Of course.
And your undertones change back to like, I'm thankful for all these bigger picture things, right? And the same thing happens with good events. You know, you win an event for more money than you could ever fathom. You're super thrilled.
Yeah.
Do you need to give yourself a moment of like, do you have to check that positivity with something negative to remind yourself that life is still hard?
No, right? People don't do that.
Right. So you don't do it the other way for the same reason, because life will just remind you that it's still hard.
Right.
Exactly.
Somewhere along the line.
Like you play a hand in a big cash session or whatever, and like everyone's obviously big hand or monetary value is different. but in the moment it feels like everything, and then you can't really remember the details of it a year later.
Right.
And it just becomes one of the things that happened to you.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, like, or maybe fortunately, I'm not sure, but our brains, at maybe their highest function, gravitate towards apathy.
Yeah, we find a way to go to baseline. Well, there was this, I saw somebody talking about how, it was talking about the short-term gratification of like scrolling through social media and all of that versus something like exercise, which is like short-term, pretty painful, but then your brain will balance back to equilibrium. So that's why when you exercise and you're in pain, you get those happy chemicals flooding, you get the endorphins.
Yeah.
But then it also works on the reverse. So where you're scrolling mindlessly, you're getting those small hits of dopamine, you're getting your reward center is like, you know, kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Then your brain will counterbalance that with negative feelings.
Interesting. Right.
To bring you, it's all about like bringing you back to baseline.
It would be so out of place. Like imagine, let's just use like Grafton as an example. If Grafton won the Triton, like he wins the Triton for like 5 million. They're like, oh, how do you feel? It's like, well, I'm gonna fucking die anyways, right? Just like do it.
Well, there is like probably a come down period.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just not like during the moment. Where like if someone like experiences like a bubble or something and like they're sad, right? It's not like you have the instant. Oh man, I love being here. I love the opportunity.
It's not instant. It definitely is.
It just declines over time.
Yeah.
It's like a
but
gradient.
I feel like you notice that more from like exercising and getting those positive chemicals versus like I don't notice it as much when I'm like doing the mindless scrolling type of thing or getting those like easy dopamine hits. But it definitely long term, like you notice maybe your anxiety levels go up or you don't feel as happy in general. Like that's probably like a widespread thing that happens.
Yeah. Social media is nasty like that when it comes to like call it engagement, call it getting feedback for things, you know. And I mean, this from like my experience, I can kind of like from the good and the bad, you feel both sides pretty hard. At least in the moment, and then it keeps going because there's so many people that engage with things at one time that it's hard to process it all.
Yeah.
You're either super happy in one time and then you realize, what am I so happy for? And then you're super sad.
It puts your brain into the chasing mode of trying to seek more of that instant
It's
reward.
crazy you say that because I wonder now how many times like just throughout the week or even a day, I'll just like scroll refresh on Twitter. You just scroll to see new shit.
Yeah. Doom scrolling.
So much. Yeah. Just
I follow this account called the Doom Scrolling Reminder Bot, and it will post every like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. So I'll see it in my timeline. It's like, are you doom scrolling? Get off this horrible app.
That's pretty. I need that. Yeah.
I feel like the only time I catch myself doing that is when my productivity is like incredibly low.
I don't know what to do when I am procrastinating.
Yeah. And my inclination to procrastinate usually comes from a place of like being low energy.
Yeah.
Like I would just rather do anything else. But thank God I don't need to scroll social media any longer because Alone exists. Well, I could just watch a bunch of Neanderthals from the Midwest.
It's why I hesitate in getting into a new show because I, like you, will just binge it. And then like that just becomes my default thing of doing what I'm doing.
You make a little me time.
How are you not out of episodes yet?
I know, that's what I always say.
I am.
You better get something in the queue.
I'm out of the traditional seasons.
Love Island has 40 seasons per episode.
I'm out.
And when I was really depressed, Love Island was like my shit.
I'm not. No.
There's got to be better things.
I'm on a lone beast now. So now what they do is they take 3 contestants.
They put them against beasts.
Each episode is its own like season. So they take 3 contestants and they put them on Vancouver Island with a slaughtered animal from the local area. So far I'm 3 episodes in. They killed a moose for episode 1, and then
they kill it for them.
Yeah. So they ethically exterminate these animals.
Yep.
And they shoot a flare up while they're boating in. So they have to like hike to the animal. So the first one was a moose. The next 2 was a muskox. And they have no tool. They have nothing. They literally just have the clothes on their back. So they have to fashion tools out of like the local rocks and whatnot, they have to last for 30 days.
But they get this food source of the.
Seems like an easy mode.
Well, that was my instinct
It doesn't last
initially.
30 days, right?
That was my instinct initially, and then I watched them try to butcher a moose with a flathead rock.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't
Right.
going all that well. And then I realized like how many like you get 10 items on a loan.
And they're working together?
Yeah.
Okay.
But imagine having to kill and then butcher it. At least that first part's gone.
Yeah, fair. But the lack of tools is really brutal. Like their shelters are so much more poorly put together.
Yeah,
don't
when you have a
get
hatchet,
items.
like
Yeah, they can't they're just making like lean-tos always.
hatchet and a ratchet.
Right. So they're mostly just like making lean-tos. They don't have a sleeping bag. The first episode, they were there in the dead of winter, so it was like snowing and like 12 degrees.
They didn't have coats? Are they naked?
They just had coats. No.
Okay.
They just had the clothes on their back. So yeah, like the lack of tools is incredibly challenging.
Well, I
but
mean, at least you got the moose fur will definitely be useful.
that's true. That part's useful. Making fire is very hard
Yeah.
because it's a wet area and they don't have a fire starter. So they're doing it, bow drill type of,
jeez.
which is pretty brutal.
Not easy.
But then like once they get the fire going, obviously like it's priority number one to just keep it running.
Someone said your Steeler hat is ratchet.
Your ass is ratchet.
There's been a lot of the chat has been buzzing about your shirt today.
My shirt looks
There's
great.
there's a lot of mixed reviews
What-
on the shirt.
what
They're
don't we
saying
like about the
they're
shirt?
saying that it's old, so that it's transparent.
I actually bought it that way, but it is old. You are correct.
It's distressed. It's got the distressed
Yeah,
look.
it's a burn. I think they call it a burnout.
Oh, that's
shirt.
your
Yeah.
skin? That's not
Yeah.
the color
That's
of
his
the
skin,
actual
yeah.
Very
background.
olive, right?
Yeah, it is.
Just like the Steelers' hopes and dreams,
Fair-
kind of burned out a little.
They're very olive.
No, sad.
Steelers' hopes and dreams are not sad. The AFC North is going to be far weaker than projected.
wide open.
Wide open.
The Ravens are going to be fucking good. Lamar Jackson.
Lamar
even though he
Jackson
played
is
the
really
Jets,
good.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He played the
It
Jets.
doesn't matter. He was moving. The way he moved,
He was
he
moving.
looked good.
He played
It
the
doesn't
Jets.
fucking matter. He's moving well. He's playing for a new contract.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
man's
man,
gonna be
like-
good.
They're probably
Mitch-
the favorite, but
Mitch
it's
Trubisky.
still open.
Mitch Trubisky would look fucking good against the Jets too.
We'll
do you-
see.
Moving and shaking. Yeah.
We'll see, but we'll see about that.
He's a scrambler, baby. He had more. He might have had more rushing yards yesterday than Najee.
He took off like the pocket broke down and he just like took off, and it was just so weird just to see like that quarterback back there. You're just used to Ben and how slow he was, and Trubisky just like took off and was like, I'm like, wow, this guy's fast.
How dare you? A young Ben was very mobile.
I'm talking about the last time I saw Ben, which was last year when he
Ben
was
was so
slower than the
slow.
fucking tortoise.
Ben was
I know,
so slow,
listen, I know slow, okay?
but he was always ready to
You
run.
definitely know slow. The
true.
tortoise knows what slow looks like.
You can be slow and tough to bring down. That's good enough.
I'm not.
Like a muskox?
Like a musk.
There was
muskox.
just
That's
a
right.
noticeable difference. That's
See,
all.
now that's a good callback.
Sure. Yeah.
All
Those
right.
prize pools, man.
We've
Fuck.
lost Melissa with the football talk. We're
I
gonna
know,
wrap it for the
I
day.
regret bringing that back up.
we ended it.
Yeah,
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you'd like to see us talk about here moving into the future. Because if you don't say anything, it's just going to be football every day, all day.
Please,
okay.
please,
Please, please, please, Daniel.
please.
We'll be back same time tomorrow, same channel. Please join us then. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you then.
Peace.